Hey guys, Dessler Magic here, and I thought I'd share some awesome reviews of the new War of the Spark book, which it turns out isn't very good. Now, I wasn't like in wait and see mode or, oh, let's cover for Wizards or let's not piss off the fan base mode. I legitimately didn't remember that some books can be not good. I just looked up like Greg Weisman's career and I'm like, all right, he should know what he's doing if he keeps getting work. As it turns out, no. So I haven't personally read the book, but I've seen like individual quotes, pages, whatever, that people are using as examples of parts they didn't like or poor writing. So it's like cherry picked the worst of the worst, theoretically. But it's so bad that if it's in the book, the rest of it must be a real gem. Clearly, Greg is bad at writing. Clearly, no editing or corrections went into this. Basic grammar wasn't respected. And you guys know I used to be a professional writer for a company that was larger than Wizards of the Coast. In fact, I was one of their top writers. I was one of the most famous ones that they flew me out for free to California for their user event as a special guest star. So I'm definitely qualified to review Greg Weisman's work, and it sucks. But don't take my word for it. Let's take the 2.5 star rating on Amazon. It's actually, I think, at like 2.4, it looks like. So let's read some good reviews and some bad reviews just to get, what people did like, if they could overlook what people are saying is an issue, if they accidentally clicked the wrong star. Spoiler alert, that would appear to be the case with some of these. So first one, 2 out of 5. If you're a big enough Magic fan to ignore the sloppy writing and weird characterizations, the book is fine. If not, stay far away from this mess. And that, I would say, it's the top rated, most helpful, marked by the users. That is what I'm hearing. The characters make no sense, they're not built up at all, and they don't match their known personalities and known backstories. So it's like a poorly researched fan fiction. And if you think about it, I personally would hate to write a Magic novel because I'd have to read every other novel, I'd have to read every Wikipedia page on every single character, and research all the lore, all the histories. Just think of the sheer number of planeswalkers in this story. It would be a nightmare, but if you sign up to do it, then you do the damn work. You do the research, you respect the lore, you respect the storyline and the customer base, and you get it right. Unless your name is Greg Weisman, and he has a bit of a history of writing subpar, big IP name books. He just approaches every company, I guess, and is like, hey, I could write you this and that. I think he wrote like a World of Warcraft book, and pardon the sore throat, got a sore throat again today. Yay. He writes a lot of like cartoonish and kids stuff too, by the way, so I guess that's where his skill level is at. Another person gave it a 1 out of 5, the lowest rating. Apparently can't give it a 0, that's a shame. And to summarize what they said, they were all excited about the trailer and the lead up and like the stories that lead into it from Ravnica, and then the book just didn't deliver anything. It's just bad. They said the art leaks and the trailer did a better job of explaining the story than the book. So all of War of the Sparks lead up had stakes and emotion, and you saw the trailer, and then you read the book, and it's just bland, it's procedural, it moves from point to point and character to character, things happen, there's no suspense, any emotion is poorly written, motivations don't make sense, characters don't act like they should. There's plot holes you could drive a truck through, like they said there's no reason that Jason Vraska's plan didn't work, or shouldn't have worked. And this review and the next one, which was 4 out of 5, shockingly, they both said, do not read this book if you're not familiar with the lore and the characters, because this just jumps in. This is like watching part 3 of Lord of the Rings and be like, who are these people and what are they doing? The funny thing is they tried to have Teo and Rat, like the main characters of the story and the people, I think, who are like first person to most of the chapters, I think. It was supposed to be like them experiencing it and then they're new to the Magic universe. And they're like, oh, what's your name? Oh, it's Chandra, it's Gideon. Oh, who are you? What's your backstory? But they didn't do it. They didn't do it enough for new people at all. Everyone agrees this is not for people who aren't experts on the story. And I gotta say, I get that. It's just you should be aware of that. I've got no problem just jumping in and having prerequisites for a book and having this basically be a sequel because it kind of is. It's just people should really know that before buying it, obviously, so that mistakes aren't made. Another 1-star review starts with 1 star, genuinely disappointing, and the first word or sentence is the book is poorly written. It absolutely is. I have seen individual pages that people just took a cell phone shot of to show how badly written it is. Yeah. I mean, the writing skill level is astonishingly bad for a professional writer. It's amazing. I write better than this, and I did not get any English or writing training past high school. So as they put it, I'm not even through 3 chapters and there have been dozens of sentences that start with and or well, respectively. And I get it. It's not like, I don't know, I was going to say a resume, but I don't know. It's not a manual for your DVR. Like, it doesn't have to be all official and whatever. Like, it's a story. Authors violate grammar as a stylistic thing, but the instances that I've seen, no, it's just bad. It's just lazy and bad. Like, you can violate traditional grammar if you think that it sounds more storytelling and more how a human would be saying it under certain circumstances, or if a character is speaking that way, but that is not what's going on in this book. But anyway, this reviewer goes on to say, it reads like a rough draft or an idea board, and I think like a dozen people said this looks like a first draft that was never edited. Characters are referred to inconsistently. Like, Gideon is sometimes called Gids or Gideon, with no explanation as to why. And it's not by one of the characters, it's by the narrator, like the omniscient, know everything, tell you the story narrator. Sentences drag on for paragraphs. Oh my gosh. And there is little in the way of descriptive imagery. So like I said, it's just things happening. No art, no style, no emotion, no setup, no building the world. Just, here's a thing that happened. Here's people doing things. Why are the things they're doing a violation of their personality? I don't know, because I didn't read the lore. So they go on to say, like, the dramatic, Teo, how he gets his spark. We already knew this, by the way. This isn't really a spoiler, but he gets stuck in, like, a inclement weather situation, and then he was going to maybe die, and then his spark ignited, because that's how that works. It's basically the same as becoming a Super Saiyan. And that entire sequence of events, quote, couldn't be any less compelling. Nothing is explained, nothing draws the reader in or builds suspense. And that's like the most drama. Like, somebody's about to die and then their spark ignites and they don't know what the hell is going on. And just zero dead, flat suspense, nothing. By the way, if you think that I and some other people are being overly critical, remember, these are Magic fans, a lot of which at this point who pre-ordered the book because they really were that interested in MTG lore and they're that much of a fan. To put this into perspective, I thought Dungeons & Dragons Wrath of the Dragon God was a pretty dang good movie. It has a 4.8 out of 10 on IMDb. Sometimes you view things through the lens of, oh my gosh, they finally made a movie or book about that. I love that. And then you want to like it, so you're going to add 2 to 3 points out of 10 in your head while you watch it, no matter how bad the acting or CGI or story or logic or anything is. It's like it gets a +3 just because, oh, finally, the D&D world come to life. Oh, that's a reference to this. Oh, that's so cool. So to take that advantage and flush it down the toilet with inaccuracies, lore problems, and just boring-ass writing, wow. It's like an accomplishment. I hope Greg Weisman never gets work again. But then again, clearly that's his talent level and clearly he keeps getting contracts. I don't know if people who approve this crap are just too lazy to read his other work. So anyway, another 1 out of 5 review is if you're looking for disappointment, look no further. Poor writing, bad character development, subpar plot. And they also say they've read all of the previous MTG novels, so they have something to compare it to. There are particular beefs where the plotline is terrible. Simply put, the amount of depth that the author puts into each character is so shallow that you could walk right through them without even getting your feet damp. That's honestly better writing than is in the book. Good job, Amazon customer. Bolus is the typical Mary Sue villain with the most comic book bad guy dialogue in the world, or that the world has ever seen. I never said I could read, by the way. I remember Bolus is hyper intelligent, very old, and has very good dialogue in the story so far, like the ones released to the internet for free. Oh, and here's an unspoiler, I guess. I know some people will be mad that I say this, but the Raven Man is not mentioned in the entire book. So if you thought that was going to come up somehow and finally get resolved after, 10 years? Nope. And isn't he the one always warning her, telling her to use the veil or not to use the veil, and then she does use the veil on one of the cards? So I would put money on Greg Weisman not knowing who the hell the Raven Man was, and that's why he didn't put it in here. Either that or Wizards told him not to because he'll be revealed in the future. Here, let's read 2 reviews that disagree with each other. Just to get both sides of the story. This is a 5-star rating by Kyle. The book was incredible! 3 exclamation marks. This was literally, spelled wrong by the way, the best piece of fiction that has ever graced the MTG IP with real actual representation that mattered. Let me translate that from SJWEs back to English. There was enough gay, black, and female characters. 5 out of 5. This review was written by John. It got a 1 star. His title was Keep Your Anti-Straight White Propagandist Agenda Out of Your Game. There are younger people who play this game. Sex and sexual ideas should not be in books like this. To make it worse, Wizards of the Coast must push their homosexual agenda. It was bad enough to mention 2 characters were gay. They decided to take it to another level by constantly, in all caps, dwelling on it and reminding the reader that they were gay. To remind everybody, if your character's entire importance to the story and background and backstory and personality is they're gay, that's not a backstory, that's not a character, okay? That's a mannequin that you put in to look woke. If them being gay has literally nothing to do with the storyline, they don't date anyone, they don't get married to anyone, it never really comes up, but you force it to come up, that, comes across as forced, because it is. But that's what these liberals do. They can't feel good about themselves and, oh, look how woke we are as a company, look how diverse we are, unless they just shove it in your face over and over and over and over. Look at how gay they are. Did you experience the gayness yet? Did I mention he's gay enough times? From what I heard, even actual LGBT people are kind of pissed that this is so transparent, pandering, and bad, but then again, it's bad character development in the entire book, so. To make matters worse, this particular reviewer pointed out that he thought that some things related to those characters, like stated, were incredibly inappropriate for any readers of a young age, like at all, but he didn't go into specifics. So that's pretty messed up, but you know, SJWs, they don't just stop at, oh, this character is gay. They get like pervy with it. Everything becomes about that to them, and they won't shut up about it, and they think everything's suddenly appropriate for all ages and everyone because they want to push their lefty agenda on everyone, so I 100% agree with this review. And I'm wondering what he's specifically referencing. I wouldn't even attempt to put it in the comments down below if you read the whole thing because it'll just get caught by the algorithm and deleted. But holy crap, am I not surprised. Hopefully this book is some kind of warning label or something. So back to just the technical how good is the book. We've got Jack Frost with a 1 out of 5 rating, verified purchaser, by the way. He says it's a D-rated book at best. Narrative is rushed and simplistic, lack of descriptions for characters, locations, and honestly anything else, lack of any sort of characterization or motivations. Characters are either portrayed wrong and often in complete contrast to their previous personalities, or without any sort of personality or emotion at all. Overabundance of backstory and summary, which honestly doesn't even tell you anything. So he tried. That's what I'm hearing from everybody. He tried to give the backstory, but failed. So it's boring and borderline incorrect for people who know the magic lore, and it's redundant and unnecessary. And then this book is still 100% by every single person I've ever heard review it say not for people who don't know the story. Then after mountains of backstory that's all garbage, he says present day story is just the final battle without any lead up or build up. Literally just the climax of the story without any narrative build up or resolution. Entire character plot lines are started and then forgotten about. I have an explanation for that. Remember how Wizards is in 2 different locations at 2 different times releasing the rest of the story, a supplemental thing. One of them they called like secret chapters and the prequel chapters. When you bought the book, you didn't buy the whole book. The middle of the book, 20 chapters was my understanding, were ripped out of the book, and they're going to send them to you via email if you sign up for a certain email list. I believe that's the one. That's one way they're releasing the story. Then there's another way they're releasing the story, and I don't remember which is which. Like which one was supposed to be written by Greg Weisman. Come to think of it, I think I have that backwards. I think the email one is written by someone else, and they're like super prequel. And then the other ones are going to be the missing chapters, I think. Remember when Hulu, I believe it was, I think I've incorrectly stated this as Netflix in the past. Remember when Hulu bought a license for Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but then it was too expensive, so they didn't buy like the last 3 episodes? The finale? I bullshit you not, they did that, and as far as I know, that's still how it is on Hulu right now. If you start watching it, you will get all the episodes in, and then, oh, sorry, it ends here. We didn't buy the last couple episodes because it was cheaper to buy 90% of it. Still not as bad as having Greg Weisman write extra bonus secret chapters, as they're calling them, and then just clearly remove them from the book, because everybody seems to be saying there's backstory, and then boom, it jumps to present day, and you're just in battle, and then the finale. It's almost like something's missing here. And the bonus chapters were written by the same author of the book. I don't know about you guys, but I'm putting two and two together here and jumping to a little bit of a conclusion. Let's keep the conspiracy theory going. I think that Wizards thought people would be way too pissed off about them paywalling the end of like a 5-year sequence of events. And so as a last second decision, they literally removed the middle of the book, like individual chapters in the middle, the really, really important ones about the lead up to battle and what's happening and who shows up and that kind of stuff. And then they said, we'll release it for free at a later date. But then they're like, well, but it doesn't make sense if we already put it in the book, so we have to remove it from the book. So they decided to just gut the book for the people paying for the book and then send the rest of the chapters so that people have a vague sense of what's going on, even if they don't buy the book, which 95% of people or more aren't going to do. And then they release like the core of the book for free later. That's what I think they did. So don't buy this half-done, half-edited pile of garbage, this absolute dumpster fire of a lobotomized book that they're going to send you half of for free anyway. Starting in like May or June, I believe. So you don't have long to wait for the middle of the book. So just if you think I was cherry picking here, let's just lightning round some more statements made by people. 1 out of 5, the plot of this MTG climax is an absolute mess that's wholly unworthy of years of setup spent on it. 1 out of 5, very disappointing. I am doubtful that the writer is a professional. Past story arcs are ignored, several plot holes, and very basic writing style. Don't recommend. Instead, just make up a headcanon for yourself from the cards in the set. You'll be happier. I want to print out that review and frame it on my wall as art. 2 out of 10, feels more like an outline of your favorite story than an actual tale. Yeah, the whole book's empty. It's just things happening. Inaccurate things happening. This one's funny. 5 out of 5, glad we are getting lore books again. I have started getting into the lore and I think the book itself is very fun. I hope we continue to get more. I don't think he read the book yet. 2 people gave it like a ultra low rating saying that they can't get the digital version to download the ebook at all. I don't know if they're on a Kindle or on a PC using the Kindle software, but just be aware of that. There's apparently a problem with it. It might just be like the AI in your computer telling you not to do it. Like they're trying to prevent you from making a huge life mistake. Okay, let's throw in a 5-star rating from Cuckoo Kid 995. Bolas should have won. That's the title of this review. Bolas should have won. Now, I have come out in support of Bolas. Everybody knows if you've been watching my channel long enough, I'm on Team Bolas. Blow all of Ravnica up. I hate that place. I hate all the guilds. And the Gatewatch are a bunch of morons. And I hate Teferi. I mean, I've got a laundry list of reasons why Bolas should win. So me and Cuckoo Kid 995 are definitely on the same page here. Then he says, he's been alive for 25,000 years and a combination of pure brilliance and plot convince will, let me back up and take a second run at that now that I know that it's not written correctly. He's been alive for 25,000 years and a combination of pure brilliance and plot convince will see him revisited. I think he meant convenience. No law was cooler. That one, I don't know what's going on with that one. Maid should have died. Not M-A-I-D, M-A-D-E. So 5 out of 5, no law was cooler, Maid should have died, Bolas should have won. Wait, he's legitimately just saying what he didn't like about the book and then gave it a 5 out of 5. 2 out of 10, the writing felt lazy, the characters that once had emotional depth to them just fell flat. Another one, 1 out of 5, bad quality. The printing is poor, the paper is really cheap, in my opinion, don't worthy buying. I used to work in like graphics design and printing, so a review about the printing quality and the paper quality, I can get behind that. So even that's bad. And by the way, if you haven't picked up some of the new D&D books, they fall apart. Not logically or storyline-wise, I mean, they literally fall apart. The binding isn't glued correctly. And the paper is trash. Plus, there's a ton of typos in all the books. I mean, they just don't give a crap anymore. And to fill in the gap for anybody confused, Wizards of the Coast makes the D&D books. That's another one of their properties. 1 out of 5. He bought the audiobook and he says it was narrated well. Robert Petkoff did a fantastic job of reading it. But the previously godlike ability planeswalkers are written as young adult stereotypes, and Bolas is a Saturday morning cartoon villain. He concludes by saying that the flavor text on the cards in War of the Spark is a better written way of telling the story and more accurate. Another one, 1 out of 5, had its fleeting moments barely. 1 out of 5, don't waste your money on this. The dialogue reads like the author outsourced the writing of it to a particularly edgy 14-year-old. I would 100% agree with that assessment. I think you get the gist of it. I read some of the 4 and 5 star comments, and they're by like people where they're not people's names. They're like company names, YouTube channel names, brand names, which I think they were just sent one and said, here, write a review, and they didn't want to give it a 1 out of 5. It's not like they're like, here, we'll send you one if you give us a good review. But if somebody just out of nowhere, some giant company sends you a book, you're not going to completely dump on it. Oh, wait, that is what you do if you're a professional who does your damn job. I say this because that's what I am required to do. I am on the team of Newegg expert certified reviewers who receive products for free to review them at launch time. And I have a certain amount of time to write a review about it, and I'm under no obligation to make it a good review. They would prefer it to be a bad review if the product has any sort of flaw so that it doesn't discredit the entire certification program where it says certified review, professional reviewed this. And I've given a couple products 1 or 2 ratings because they don't work like they're supposed to. The specs aren't right, just anything. If it's not a good product, I'm going to rate it as such. I'm even pretty harsh giving out like 80 or 90% if there's just the tiniest little flaw. I mean, some of these products cost like $800. So you know I'm flipping that shit on eBay. I mean, just saying. If I'm dropping $800, it damn well better work perfectly with 0 flaws. So like some of these names, even the people's names, you just Google them and you're like, oh, that's who it is. Okay. I really suspect that they got sent a copy. And that's going to be a 3 out of 5 no matter what. You don't like get a gift from a company sort of out of nowhere. And, oh, I'm so honored that they picked me to review it and then just give it a 1 out of 5 because it's a dumpster fire. You're going to give it some leeway. You might be like, yeah, I don't know the magic story. Sure, the story made no sense to me. So what? I mean, that's okay. Oh, the writing appears to be written by and for 12-year-olds. Whatever. Maybe that's what they were going for. 5 out of 5. Hell, it might not even be their fault. They wouldn't even know that, like, Bolus isn't supposed to talk like an idiot, like a high schooler. He's supposed to be a wise, hyper-intelligent elder dragon that speaks in a very particular tone. But some random person wouldn't know that. So, I mean, some of these might be legit. Some of them might be kind of coerced, a little bit influenced. And as you noticed, some of these people are just batshit crazy or 10 years old. So maybe some of these people should stop writing Amazon reviews for bad books and go outside and play ball, Jimmy. So at this point, I guess you get the gist of it. If Wizards like a year from now releases this for free, I still wouldn't even recommend reading it. From the looks of it and the couple individual pages I've seen, it's trash. It's horrible. It's a downright insult to the Magic community, the Magic lore, and whatever led to this, Wizards not giving him enough information, enough time, him not putting in enough effort. I don't know. I don't care. Don't spend your money on this, and don't even read it if it's free. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video, which is going to be even spicier because it's about somebody getting caught cheating.